Hello, Seiiti arata. You say just $20 more. Today's gonna be my day. You tell yourself you've already lost so much that a win has to come. You think, well, I've got this lucky feeling. And then the next spin will hit, your next bet will land, and your life will change. You believe there is a right time when the app you're using to bet money will start to pay out. Maybe right now the slot is going to be more hot, and you know today is going to be the day. You cling to this fantasy because you need to believe that you have some level of control, that you're not just wasting time, wasting money, and wasting your life, your hope. Your whole day is like an emotional roller coaster. You wake up remembering yesterday's results. You go to work thinking about your next bet. And then you start watching influencers on TikTok teaching you the secret to beat the odds. You come home dwelling on your losses. You fall asleep dreaming of a jackpot that never comes. This is no longer a hobby. This is addiction. It is mental programming that turns you into somebody who's utterly incapable of building real wealth. What you might call an innocent little game, well, it's just a sports bet. This is a psychological trap. Every spin, every wager seems harmless, but it is reconfiguring your brain. It is training you to think like the type of person who is destined to die broke. This is not going to be easy here. I'll be blunt. You will never get rich gambling. Not on online slots or DraftKings or scratch-offs or the lottery. Because waiting for wealth to come from luck, that is a poverty mindset. Wealthy people don't think like that. They understand that wealth does not come by chance. Wealth comes from using sound money. Money that can preserve your purchasing power and avoiding traps that drain your energy, that drain your capital. But you've already lost that capacity because now your brain has been programmed, or better yet, reprogrammed to look for magic instead of method. So stay here until the end. We're going to be understanding how this mental reprogramming is actually working on you and how you can get out of it before it is too late. Otherwise, you might spend your next decades of life working to plug holes created by the illusion of easy money while other people are securing freedom with real strategies. Every bet you place programs your brain so you die broke. Every time you press that button hoping that those symbols on your screen will change your life, you are feeding a mental addiction. The belief that financial success can happen in an instant, that luck will appear, that it's just a matter of holding on a little bit longer. You believe you've lost so much that now something has to give, right? And because of this, you start using a dangerous strategy without even realizing. This is a disguised martingale. You can research more about that if you want. You might not know the name martingale, but you basically do it every day. You lose 10, now you're going to bet 20, so you make it back. Then you lose again, now you're going to bet 40, then 80, and soon enough you're betting everything you have, thinking I just need one good round to break even and come out ahead. This logic seems smart on a first glance, but it is just a pure trap. The game is programmed to withstand long losing streaks. And with each new attempt, you're basically digging yourself deeper. If you stop, you lost for nothing. That's the sunk cost fallacy. But if you continue, you risk losing everything. That's the trap. And you still delude yourself with external psychological tricks, watching videos that say, the trick is to play late at night because the odds are better. And then you join Telegram groups, Discord, that promise to give you signals, sure things. When the jackpot is due, you follow all of this thinking that you're playing with some strategy, but it basically just serving the system. Your brain stops reasoning logically. The prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that should help you do better planning for your future, is now being hijacked by dopamine addiction. With every spin, you're trading reasoning for impulse, patience for anxiety, building for betting. That's why a strategy that takes time, like saving every month, studying about investments, constantly buying Bitcoin, seems to be boring to you and also difficult. Your brain has been trained to reject what actually works. I'm sure somebody in the comments will eventually appear and say, oh, Bitcoin, that's just another gamble. Now, is that really? When someone shows that Bitcoin has preserved value for 15 years, you say, well, I don't know, it seems too risky. And when you see that DCA, the dollar cost average, which is buying a little bit every month, has outperformed savings accounts and even the S&P 500 in many scenarios, you might still find it difficult to understand, to believe. And when they explain to you that digital scarcity protects against inflation, you don't want to know about it. You just tune out because the game taught you to look for miracles, not for logic. The problem is not the market. It's how you've been conditioned to think, if we even call that thinking. While wealthy people are using math and strategy to preserve value, you're using faith, impulse, and even superstition trying to recover your losses. You've been basically trained to lose. And if you don't break this programming, you will continue to bet the best years of your life, your youth, your health, your salary, and your retirement in exchange for nothing. So, gambling is programmed to rob you. Learn about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is programmed to protect you. I'll explain something that might shock many people. Bitcoin is not gambling. Bitcoin is sound money. The difference is huge, and you really need to put some effort to understand. Gambling is mathematically programmed for the house to always win. You've probably heard about that. You might get lucky sometimes, but the odds, the math, guarantees you will lose on the long run. Gambling is a system built with the sole purpose of draining your money. The proportion of wins and loss is against you. Now, Bitcoin is the opposite. Bitcoin is mathematically programmed to preserve and even increase your purchasing power long term. Now, how does that work? I'll show you 4 characteristics that no other option possesses. The first one is called absolute scarcity. Absolute scarcity. There will never be more than 21 million Bitcoins. Never. No matter how many governments might want to put pressure to create more, no matter how much demand exists, that's the limit, 21 million. Now compare this with the US dollar, for example, which the government can create whenever it wants to finance spending. When you understand that scarcity generates value and abundance, excess, generates devaluation, you start to understand things. Then you see how Bitcoin preserves your purchasing power of your work, while any other traditional currency is basically making you lose your money. Second, Bitcoin is completely inflation proof. While your money in savings is losing purchasing power every year because of inflation, Bitcoin maintains its fixed scarcity programmed in a code. Now, if you don't fully understand how inflation is silently stealing your money, there are episodes that we made about inflation. You just have to search here on YouTube for Hello Seiiti Arata series and the Money Arata series. The third is Bitcoin is offering you unbreakable security. Nobody can confiscate, nobody can freeze, nobody can dilute your Bitcoin. The government can't do it, banks can't do it, hackers cannot do it. They cannot move or freeze your money that is saved in Bitcoin. When you have the keys, you have total control over your money. And this is something impossible with the traditional banking system. I told you 4 elements. The fourth one is that Bitcoin works with proof of work. Basically, that means that money is not created out of thin air. There is actual work that was performed. So this is money based on physics and mathematics, not on words by politicians, by hope. No. To better understand all these technical concepts, and there are even other ones like stock to flow, digital scarcity, what is hard money, what is soft money. We have more episodes in the Money Arata series in our Arata Academy YouTube channel. The practical difference is brutal. With gambling, you're betting against math to try to get something. It's against you. The system is against you. With Bitcoin, math is helping you to preserve your long-term wealth. While you might be wasting your time with illusions, your retirement is just melting away. If you don't break these mental addictions, it's going to be over for you. You will work until you die. I'll show you how to escape this trap before it is too late. If you want to break the poverty mentality of gambling, if you want to stop sabotaging your financial future, you need to break 3 mental addictions that are destroying you. The first addiction is living in a financial fantasy. Now, what do I mean by that? You need to stop dreaming and start understanding, processing real data about your money before it is too late. You have to calculate exactly how much you lost with online gambling. Take a look at the last 6 months. Put everything together. The money you deposited. All those moments you're like, oh, just one more try. You need to calculate that. This is a huge problem these days. Now you simulate if you had used that same amount of money to buy Bitcoin monthly over the last 6 months. How much would you have today? There are different DCA calculators for Bitcoin. If you want to search for them, they'll help you. The difference between these 2 numbers should absolutely shock you. This is the difference between a poor mentality that is betting against math and a rich mentality using math to save yourself. You might not be familiar with the DCA, the dollar cost average. This is very interesting for you to calculate your Bitcoin savings, and we also have episodes about DCA in the Money Arata series. When you see real numbers, your brain stops romanticizing your losses. Your cognitive bias is, faced with reality. Then you start to actually value preservation methods. Because if you don't do that, you're going to keep on fantasy. It's going to be very late in your life and you have nothing. I know some people might criticize, saying that, oh, I don't know, people who are losing money gambling, they are not going to be smart enough to do this type of calculations. I am showing you the way. I'm showing you the information. And it's not my role to be deciding what you're going to be doing with that information. My role here is to be sharing you the ideas and tools and techniques, and what you're going to be doing with this information is 100% in your hands. The responsibility is yours, and also the results you're going to have in your life are yours as well. Okay? Right. So the second addiction we have is the need for instant gratification. This is a huge problem. You have to replace the addiction to quick dopamine hits with discipline in your life, so you have a gradual growth before you completely destroy your ability to build wealth. You have to define the amount you would spend every month on your games, on your gambling. Let's say it's like $200, equivalent to that. Start learning how to use that money to buy Bitcoin every month. There's no perfect timing. Don't have to be guessing on the chart if it's going up or down. You shouldn't have anxiety about that. During the first 30 days, resist the temptation to sell, even if you see the price fluctuating. Notice daily how you feel about the market variations, the volatility, and compare that sensation with the destructive anxiety of gambling. In the following months, you keep doing that. Keep buying regularly and studying 15 minutes about how Bitcoin works as a store of value. Each small learning will be strengthening your conviction, your confidence in your strategy. And then, and remember, this is a long-term plan. Every 3 months, you can analyze your savings, how it's growing. You can celebrate constant progress instead of seeking impossible jackpots. It's not about the jackpot. It's about building something on the long term. If you don't train your patience right now, you're going to be wasting your life chasing losses until the end. The volatility can even go against you, but you keep on doing it. You can transform the time that you waste gambling into actual knowledge. And this is something that will really save you and your financial future. You can replace all the time that you spend gambling and even watching content about gambling with actual education about economics, about Bitcoin. I would suggest put like 30 minutes a day. Find good content. And to build a solid foundation, you can take a look at the episodes on Money Arata series that explain fundamental concepts like hard money, about inflation, about scarcity. Immediately, you have to apply every concept that you learn. So, if you study about proof of work or halving, you have to understand how programmed scarcity is actually working in practice. If you learn about proof of work, you have to understand why this actually matters instead of proof of stake. Why is one superior to the other? And then you can share that knowledge with people close to you. Because when you do that, when you explain, when you're teaching, that strengthens your own understanding, and that creates commitment so you can continue learning. Probably you've heard about teaching as a way of learning, right? After 3 months of consistent study, you will notice a fundamental shift, a fundamental transformation, a mental transformation. You stop seeking financial magic and you actually start valuing knowledge as a wealth building tool. Now, what if you don't do that? If you don't break financial ignorance now, you will be like everybody else. You'll be exploited by the system until the end of your life. Think about it this way. Every day without Bitcoin is like one more year working. You are now at a decision point that will determine whether you continue programming your brain for poverty or if you develop wealth preservation, a positive mentality for wealth before it is too late. Every dollar that you lose in gambling, it is a dollar that could be protected from inflation, from devaluation, using Bitcoin. Every hour that you waste on betting is like 1 hour that you could be investing in financial education. Every decision that is based on illusions of easy money, of jackpots, that is a decision that's taking you away from real financial freedom. The math is simple. People who gamble, they become poor because they bet against the odds. The odds are always favoring the house. People who save in Bitcoin, they're building wealth because they're using hard money that preserves their money long term. And there is no middle ground here. You cannot be a gambler and a saver, somebody who builds things at the same time, because these are two different modes of operating with your brain. You either can think like a poor person or somebody who creates wealth. And every day that passes without a plan, you are accumulating error after error. It might become impossible for you to reverse all those terrible financial choices that will condemn you to work until the end of your life. So this is why you urgently need to make a change, to stop making the errors. So stop everything you're doing. Have a link. You can go to arata.se/diamondhands. That will teach you how to use Bitcoin as a professional savings before it is too late.